guys, we're in the Money in Your Pocket spreadsheet assignment. And what I wanted to go over with you real quick is the charting part, just to make sure that you understand what you need to do. On part 3, it says to chart the results. You're supposed to add formulas to the total pay, taxes, and net take-home pay columns. And then you're supposed to make a chart to illustrate how much your take-home pay was over the 10-week period. I give you a little hint here that adding a column that labels the weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3, will make it easier. And then you're supposed to format your chart so that it has a title and it's labeled appropriately. So I'm going to switch over here so that you can see what one looks like that's done. Okay. If you did your Money in Your Pocket assignment correctly, it should look like this, where you have your hours per week, you have rate of pay, then you have total pay, and total pay should be in a formula format. Okay, that should be taking your hours per week times your rate of pay. Then your taxes, that should also be a formula. That's going to take your total pay, okay, times, in this case, 20%. We started out with 15%, but then later in the instructions I told you to make it 20%. So it should be 20% in your formula. Then your net take-home pay, that's the pay you get after you pay your taxes. So again, this needs to be a formula, not a number typed in. It should be your total pay minus the taxes that you have to pay to the government. And that's the money that you get to take home with you. Okay. So what I did over here on column F, I just added a column called week and put week 1, 2, 3, and so on. And the reason this is helpful is because then you will have part of your charting already labeled when you highlight and put your graph in. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You'll see here's a graph that I already created over here, but I'll start from scratch so you can see how it works. We're going to highlight E and F. We'll go down all the way to week 10. Okay. Then remember, charting is going to be insert and then chart. Chart and graph mean the same thing for spreadsheets. And what it will do is it will try to recommend for you a certain chart. This one actually looks just fine. Notice that it labeled the weeks. It also put net or take-home pay here. But there are some things we can do to make this better. Okay. Here's chart types, so you can choose a different type if you want. On my first example, I made it a line graph, and that would be fine. You just wouldn't want to choose one that doesn't make sense with your data. For example, a pie chart would not make sense with your data, okay? So we want to go with something like this, or a line chart or a bar chart. You want to customize now. There's a place for you to put your title, and we may just clean this up a little bit and call it take-home pay. Then notice you have a place where you can change the font, and you can change the color, blah, blah. If you want to do that, you can. I don't care. The legend, you don't really need a legend here because we're only charting one thing. So you can tell what it is. You don't need a legend. So I would hit no. Then again, you can change your font and your background. That's all optional. If you want to change those things, you can. On your horizontal axis, which is the one that goes across, it's labeled week right now, and that's perfect. And then we have week 1, week 2, week 3. This is because we added in that column for column F and actually typed that in. If we would not have typed that in, the computer would not know what to label these things. So these would be just blank, and you'd have to go in and type these in. That's why I suggested that you add in the week number, and then they were right next to each other so that you could chart them easily. Then as you scroll down, you'll see there's a place where you can change, excuse me, on your left axis, you can change what that's called. I think I'll leave it, it's fine. And then there's some other things you can do to customize it. Again, if you want to, perfect. So I'm going to hit insert, and it will just drop my chart right on top of my information. So you'll want to move it out of the way, just right below or wherever, and just make it your own. Customize it the way you want to, but this is the type of information I'm looking for. Okay. All right, if you have any questions about graphing or charting in spreadsheets, please see me.